we'll give her another minute to connect here. Eden? I think she's. All right, I guess we'll get started. It is Wednesday, March 16th, 2022. It is 7:02 p.m. This is a meeting of the Nahant Conservation Commission. It's being recorded. First on the agenda is the continued notice of intent for 12 Spouting Horn Road, DEP file number 0470595, construction of an in-ground swimming pool, patio, and stairwell for water access within coastal bank, land subject to coastal storm flowage, and the buffer zone to coastal bank. The applicant took the feedback from our site visit, and they requested a continuance as they're making modifications to the plan. So can I have a motion to continue?
I'll move.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we're supposed to do a roll call vote apparently every time. Mark, how do you vote?
Aye.
Colleen? Tom?
Oh, yes.
Henry?
Yes.
And then Eden? I don't think she's on yet. Okay, and I'm a yes.
I said aye. I just was on mute. Sorry.
I read your lips. Okay, passes unanimously. Okay, next up, number 2, request for minor modification, 163 Willow Road, DEP file number 0470584, after the fact request to augment the seawall. Mr. Dick, do you want to speak to this?
He's muted.
I'll try. How's that? You got an as-built that's been revised. I am advised that they went out and actually did some measurements post the date of whatever the date the plan was, post-construction. I think I have already told you, took field notes back in July prior to construction, because it was pretty apparent that the salt marsh was a moving target, that whatever we showed on the existing conditions plan was actually closer to the wall than it was shown on the plan. That's clearly a situation that, well, however many shots they took whenever they did the existing conditions plan, there wasn't much salt marsh there, and then it grew. For all I know, it has grown some more, but we've frozen now 2 points in time, one in July of 2021 and one sometime between October and the present. And they both show that there is no encroachment upon the salt marsh. The plan that David sent you also shows a proposed addition to the revetment on the corner of the neighbor's existing retaining wall. That basically is to prevent wave wash up and scouring of the footing for that wall. And it's a little tough to read because the wall itself is grade, but then there's a segment of it that's on David's property that is also crosshatched. So it's, if you understand what's going on there, it makes a certain amount of sense. That's going to consist of 3, maybe 4 boulders, 2 placed at the base of the wall and 2 more placed on the wall, and should suffice to keep the wave action from damaging the integrity of that existing wall. Aside from that, everything is pretty straightforward. I was rather surprised to see that now that the lot line has been clearly superimposed on the drawing, virtually all of the revetment is within either land that actually is owned by David or land that extends seaward of his property and is at least controlled by him. That's an interesting situation. Typically, with waterfront deeds, you don't have an extension to mean low or low water or the low water mark or the tidal flats or whatever. However, it's pretty well established in tidal law that that's indeed the case unless it says otherwise. And there's no indication of any taking on the record by the town or by other parties, no reservation of fee in the foreshore. So the presumption then lies with David that he owns out to the low water mark. Therefore, the entirety of the wall as shown and as proposed is on his property. That concludes my presentation. I think it's possible now to grant an after the fact. And if you got any questions, I'll try to respond to them.
Thank you, John. Does anyone from the commission have any questions, comments, concerns?
So the plan for the after the fact would be the one that's actually labeled as built.
Yes.
So that should have its name changed, I guess, to.
In point of fact, while it purports to be an as-built plan, it also shows a proposed condition, which is the modification we're discussing right now. I think it's probably okay as long as you refer in the modification to plan labeled as built showing proposed addition to wall.
So do these new boulders end up on the seagrass?
No, the new boulders will be probably within 2 or 3 feet of the seagrass, but at that point, the seagrass is 3 feet or more from the base of the wall. The intent here again is to basically to break the wave action against that vertical impervious surface so as to essentially prevent the beach and the seagrass with it from being scoured away from the bottom of that footing.
So on the plan for photograph number 1,
Yes,
that's the area where you're planning to put the stone.
yes,
There's more than 3 feet there?
yes. By actual direct measurement, yes.
Why does the photo make it look like there isn't any space?
I don't have the photo in front of me, so I can't answer that. Can you call up that photo, Kristen?
No, I wasn't emailed the filing, so I don't have it. Mr. Aldridge sent it to the clerks and not me, so I don't have it, unfortunately.
David, you there?
I have a hard drive that I can try to see if it's on this. Let me see.
Okay, you should be able to go, Dave.
Ah,
Oh, I don't want to see that.
here's an Aldrich.
John?
David,
Yeah, so I hand delivered all the photographs to the town. They acknowledge receipt of them, stamped by the town clerk. And I also sent a copy to the Conservation Commission and to Ms. Sherber. And she acknowledged in an email that she received all the documents as well as Diane Dunphy received them as well. So all the documents have been, delivered to the town.
Yes, we have them in hard copy. We're looking for an electronic version so Mr. Dick can look at it with us in real time.
Well, you have those. I sent you all the photographs, and I also sent a hard copy of the flash drive with the video from one end of the revetment wall to the next. So you have all of those documents, and you've had them for a week.
I was not CC'd on what you sent to the clerks. They told me that it was received. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's immaterial. I don't have anything that I can share with you, unfortunately. But Tom and Mark, to your point, based on this picture, you're right, it does appear that there isn't space there.
There's, oh, jeez. If you look at the photographs, which I delivered,
The ones on the as-built here?
no, the actual photographs that I delivered to the town, which they acknowledged that they received.
Who's
It went,
they?
I went to the town,
Okay.
I emailed all of the.
Excuse me, Dave. We weren't
No.
trying to make progress. Let's see if somebody can get the picture up rather than explaining everything, because we've got a whole bunch of members here.
Oh, here we
address
go.
the question.
It's in my junk mail.
Oh, so there you go.
Oh, no, some
Stan.
more. I have a picture from 216. That's all I have.
If I could say the best picture to address this is actually part of John Dick's March 3rd notice. On page 2 of 3, there is a picture of the existing salt marsh as of July 19th, 2021. And it shows that corner of that wall. And so you get a sense for where that corner of that wall is. And then when you look at the pictures that David submitted, it becomes more clear that that corner was not addressed, and that's why they need the additional boulders. So I would look at John Dick's photo on page 2, which is an old photo. It's from July, but it shows you that very corner. And it shows you there's plenty of space between that corner and the salt marsh that we're concerned about. Probably the best photo that's updated to address that corner, that wall is, I guess, would be photo number 1, but it doesn't show the actual cement wall. That's the problem, but.
Hold on, tell them to hold on, Trish.
I'm looking at my actual field notes from the 19th of July.
Yeah,
I don't know if you ever got a copy of the field notes. They were sent to the surveyor. I believe he used them in the preparation of the plan. But essentially what I did at that time was I stretched a tape from an iron driven in the beach right in front of that wall corner.
which is
down to the
photographed,
closest
which is photographed, yeah.
drain, yes. And I took a picture of it. And at that time, my notes say that the salt marsh was 4.6 feet from the base of the wall, 4.6 feet, which I think gives you a good margin of error out there. Where it is today, I wouldn't be prepared to say. Tomorrow that marsh could be right up against the edge of the wall, or it could be 12 feet out. Salt marsh is a dynamic feature, especially when it's growing in a beach. There's no peat there to hold it together.
Well, the current photos show that the salt marsh is right up against the boulders that they've, in that region. I would say photograph number 1 from David's photos.
Yeah, it's on this.
That's correct. Yep, that's it. Yep. Yeah, that's it. I think that's the exact same spot that you photographed in July of 2021.
It sure looks like it. Looks like whoever took that picture was standing on the footing of the wall.
Correct. Yeah.
So I'd call that good news. That's a good, healthy salt marsh, and it's coming right up against the wall.
Correct.
But
What's the
question is, how
long-term
can you add
result
more?
here?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean,
This
probably-
should attenuate wave scour. Salt marsh itself attenuates wave scour. I think we're solid. But remember, the directive in the order of conditions was to hold a line that was established by the order of conditions on the existing conditions plan before the wall was built, before a growing season took place. So here we are now, and that salt marsh has moved. By direct measurement, I verified that it's moved. We've given you a plan showing the location of the salt marsh on the day the salt marsh was surveyed. What's that tell us? It's not underneath the wall. And by direct observation, when they were putting the stones in, until I fainted, those stones were not going in on top of salt.
So I think I agree. The good news here is the salt marsh seems to be expanding. The concern now is just making sure that when the additional boulders are installed, that we're not encroaching upon it.
I think the easiest way to address that would be direct measurement from the base of the wall and placement of stones accordingly. And the only way to do that is to go out on the ground and see where the salt marsh is during the growing season, which is what, a month away, month and a half.
Mr. Aldrich, when are you intending to install the additional boulders?
As soon as possible.
Did you hear that? As soon as possible.
So I'm just sending all the the current photograph of that corner to, I sent it to Colleen, I sent it to Mark, I'm sending it to the Conservation Commission email right now.
From the photos he's just sent me, it appears to be there's room for putting.
There's
boulders. Yeah,
lots of room,
I'm seconding that. This is not I don't think this is controversial. It appears to be there is room to
Where-
put some
where do you-
boulders
where do
and
you-
to protect that corner.
Where do you see the room, though? I guess that's the question.
Well, I'm saying, I'm verbally assessing what I was sent is as a photo of that corner, which we don't have
you-
in hard copy, but he's showing us on,
Colleen, do you know how to share your screen if I allow you, if I make it so you can?
well,
So we can
hold
all
on a
look at
minute, because this is on my phone. So hang on a minute. So let me save the photo and I will send it to email. Okay?
I love technology.
Yeah, and I will send it to the email. Yep, I'm working on it. Hang on.
Okay. I don't have it.
I've got to,
I don't know what it is about this. Town meeting.
okay, so. Hang on a minute. It's proving more difficult to, let's see. Here it is, just a second. All right, hang on. I'm gonna open it for you guys, just a second here. Okay, hang on a minute.
Mark should have his.
I got it. I can't figure it out, but I got it. Yeah.
Okay, I've just opened it. I'm gonna share, if you've given me permission to share. I'm
Here we go.
gonna-
I beat you.
Gotcha. Okay, hang on a second.
We're good, Colleen.
Oh, you got it. Oh, you
Yeah,
beat me.
I
Okay,
beat ya.
sorry. Okay.
All
Okay,
right, so this is helpful. It definitely shows. So we're talking about inside this pink
Yes,
area.
yes,
Okay.
yeah,
Although the pink area is right on the edge, right? Is that right on the edge of the salt marsh?
no, there's another few, this looks to be about another 6 inches or more before you get to the actual grass. So,
just
I mean,
thought
more
that
than
our
6
order of
inches, I'd say.
conditions said it has to be a foot.
we'll be well within a foot.
Within or outside a foot?
Well, there'll be much more room than a foot between the boulders and the salt marsh.
Because he sent it a video, and the video, there's clearly enough room. I don't, yeah, the video shows there's clearly enough room before you get to the marsh.
Okay. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, as long as we can maintain that foot, then I'm fine with the additional boulders.
Well, then, so should we have the as-built amended to replace photograph 1 with whatever you want to replace it with? Because photograph 1 is showing mature seagrass and the photograph on the screen is not.
Right. Well, I think that was taken at the end of construction versus now it's not growing season.
This was done last week.
Okay, so we're beginning to see some green. I expect by now there are probably shoots out there. I'm not opposed to going out there at low tide and measuring it.
Okay.
Well, so-
Construction site visit.
I
Again.
mean, as long as we can maintain that foot, I think that's fine. This is a proposed modification. I mean, I will say that I'm not comfortable signing off on the certificate of compliance until these are in place. That would be my only concern, just to make sure that everything matches with what was required.
Oh, dear.
So the,
Kristen.
Yeah.
The as-built should be updated. So photograph 1 is changed to something else.
I mean, this, yeah, it should, and this should be renamed. It's not an as-built. And then when it's done, they should show the rocks there. So we have a permanent record of what's there, not just an outline of where things might go. So it's up to the commission. I mean, I will say that I think photograph 1 is not helping their case, but they did provide a supplemental photograph that shows that there is space there.
So photograph, the one on the photograph on the screen is post-construction or is it during construction?
That's
Now.
post-construction.
It's post-construction and it's where they want to do the supplemental boulders.
Okay.
The specific area, which is that wall. That vertical, revetment. I don't see a problem with it.
No, it's purely a matter of getting the right size boulder in there.
Yeah. I think it's fine. I think that
Yeah.
they didn't do themselves any favors on this as-built, but we have a photo that shows that there's tough room. If
Well,
Miss-
remember
if
the
we make-
as-built was intended for the certificate of compliance.
Right, well, trying to do double duty here, so,
Yes, yeah.
I'm okay with it for a modification. I'm not okay with it for a final as-built because we need to make sure, I mean, we need a final recording of what ends up being there.
right.
So I think we can use this for the modification if everyone's comfortable with it. And I'll print out this picture that we have here and I'll just put it in the file with this. And then if everybody's comfortable, we could do the modification with that plan.
With the understanding that this as-built is a point frozen in time as of the date of the as-built. There'll be an updated as-built when it's done.
Correct. Mhm.
I make a motion to accept the,
Wait a minute. We have to modify the as-built again?
You're gonna need a new as-built for the certificate of compliance. You've just modified the order.
But we can't keep spending all this money. I mean,
I understand that.
So unfortunately, we need a final record of what's out there, not what's proposed to be out there. We can't sign off on things until they're done.
Right.
So if you end up putting more boulders, if things encroach further, if you go more on, if the neighbor wants some on their property, we need to see what ends up being there.
all right, we're gonna decide whether or not we're gonna put the additional boulders in. If we decide not to do it, can we get a certificate of compliance?
If you do not do it, you can get a certificate of compliance.
Okay, without
If
it,
you do it, you either need to file again and go through all this cost and expense again, or you'll get an enforcement order. If you don't do it with permission.
no, I didn't. I said, if we decide not to do the additional boulders.
You
will
would
we
need to make that
acknowledge-
decision now.
What? Excuse
You would
me?
need to make that decision now. Because otherwise we can't issue a certificate of compliance while you think about whether or not you want to add them. Because that's us saying the work is done and it was done the way it was permitted. So there couldn't be any more work after the certificate of compliance is issued.
I understand that. I'm just deciding whether or not we just,
But you can't do that. We can't do a certificate of compliance without going through the minor modification approval. Because
Well, we have to
what's
do that
built is not
regardless.
approved
Well, we have to do the minor modification regardless.
Anyway.
So we can do the minor modification right now. And either Mr. Aldrich can decide right now if he wants to do the boulders, or he can wait a month and at our next meeting, decide
well, I
whatever
can't,
he prefers.
I can't do it. I can't do this.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I know, like, I don't want you to have to make a decision right now, but if we give you the modification, then you can do it or not.
Yeah,
And then we'll just hold the certificate of compliance. If you decide you don't want to do the boulders, then we'll just modify for the other work that was done and leave the boulders out and issue the certificate of compliance right now.
Yeah, so it's done, but if you feel strongly about the boulders, then we can wait.
Give us just a minute. Come here.
Okay, why don't we do this? Why don't we vote on the modification and then we'll skip, you guys can mute and talk and we'll skip to the other items on our agenda. And then we can come back, and if you feel comfortable making a decision, we can do that.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Colleen, you made a motion to issue the minor modification.
Correct.
I'll
Is there a
second
second?
it. I'll second.
Thank you. Okay, we have to do a roll call vote. Mr. Paddock,
Yes.
Ms. Collins,
Yes.
Mr. Familari,
Yes,
Ms. Reiner,
Yes.
Henry.
I'm not allowed to vote.
I know, you just have to say you abstain.
Oh, abstain.
And I'm a yes. So that is 5-0-1. Okay. Okay, so we'll skip number 3 for now, and then we'll come back to it. Other business. Discussion of meeting minutes. I have been informed by the town clerk that I am not allowed to do the meeting minutes. Somebody else on the commission has to do them. There is a form that you fill out, and it's literally just like basic stuff, how we vote, and then we submit it. We could take turns doing meeting minutes, but since I've been told that since I lead the meeting, I'm not allowed to do the minutes. So we need to figure out another way to do this. So I don't know if anybody would like to do them.
I'll do the meeting minutes, but it's gonna have to be after April. I'm going on a trip in April for extended trip.
Okay,
So I don't mind doing them after that.
Okay.
And then I'll submit them to everybody, you know. I'll type
Okay.
them up. What I'd like to do is have a format that I
Yes.
just basically reprint the agenda and then put in a different color, the notes from each agenda, and keep it pretty simple.
yep, we can definitely do that. I will send you, we have a format of how we can
Yep.
do it. I will send it to you. Thank you so much for volunteering. Would anybody be willing to do April?
I won't be here.
I'm on vacation too. I was really hoping we wouldn't have anything on the April agenda, but it's looking like we're going to. Colleen, will you be here for April?
I won't be. I'm gonna be
Okay.
I'm gonna be out of the country for a couple of weeks.
Good for you. Henry, will you be around?
And it'll be the 20th?
I think so, yeah. We have 2 things on the agenda as of right now.
Yeah,
That's-
I'll do it.
That's cool.
I'll do it.
Okay. Mark and Tom, will you be available just to make sure we'll have a quorum?
Yeah, I should be. Let's see,
I-
let's see. It's gonna be the 15th, I see, first, second, third. It should be
April
the
20th.
15th. Am I looking at the wrong day of the month?
I'll be in Florida, but I can do it from Florida if I have to.
Oh, yeah, you're right. There is one. I was looking at the wrong thing. Yeah.
Or we can move it up to the 13th. We're not married to the 20th if we don't want to.
I'm okay. Yeah.
Tom?
I'm not really sure, Kristen. I'm hoping to be, but, you know,
Okay, yep. If we changed it to the 13th, Colleen and Eden, would you be around?
No,
Oh, I'm
I
going
will.
away.
I'll be on a plane to France, sorry.
All right. All right, let's keep it the 20th. Henry, you're willing to do them for the 20th?
Sure.
Thank you so much.
By
right.
the 20th, I should be around.
Okay. All right, so we'll stay with the 20th. Henry, I'll send you the format for April, and then Colleen will do after that. Thank you so
Yeah,
much, guys. I
From
really
May
appreciate
on,
it.
yeah, from May on, I can do it.
Thank you very much. Okay. Review and approval of the meeting minutes of February 16th, 2022. Does anybody have any questions, comments, concerns?
I'll move to approve them.
Thank you, Mark.
I
Is there a
did have
second?
one question. I approved them, but I had a question about the notice of intent for 12 Spouting Horn Road. We did a continuance then, which was to allow the abutter to attend. And
Yeah.
now we've issued another a continuance
Yes.
after the site visit. Like, when is the abutter going to attend? Like, is there some particular time, or are we just going to keep having this on the agenda and keep pushing it?
So tonight's continuance was not because of the abutter. The abutter was notified that we were continuing again. But it's because they wanted to make changes based on our site visit, and they didn't have enough time to make all the changes.
I see.
So I think the good news is they took our comments in, and hopefully we'll see some positive changes next meeting. Hopefully next meeting we'll wrap it up.
And next meeting, we're going to specifically discuss the pool,
Yes.
just the pool, not.
No, the pool, the patio, the stairs,
Yeah.
the whole shebang.
Yeah.
Okay, so is there a second for the meeting minutes?
Second,
Thank you, Eden. Okay. Mr. Paddock, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Collins,
Yes.
Mr. Famulari,
Yes,
Ms. Reiner,
yes.
Mr. Hall?
Yes.
I am a yes. This is just based on like the way you're on my screen. I don't have a favorite. Okay, so next we're gonna schedule a site visit, excuse me, for 64 Willow Road. This is the folks that, there's been maybe some historic incursion into the wetlands and floodplain in the back, and we issued an enforcement order, and I think it would be helpful if we visit before the meeting so that we can have a constructive conversation with them. So hopefully we're done snow. We're done with snow. Just gonna say it. Okay,
Yeah.
so is there a day of the week? We did a Thursday last time, a Thursday at 8 a.m. How do people feel about that? Or do you prefer a different day?
I mean, Thursdays are good for me, but I'm not going to be here for the rest of March. So yeah, April, any Thursday.
We could do April 7th. How do folks feel about that?
Sure.
Would that work for everybody?
Mhm.
Okay. Tom, you won't necessarily be able to attend, but the homeowner was flexible, you said.
yes.
Okay. Okay, let's
Okay, sit
plan
down.
on April 7th at 8 a.m. Is that okay?
Yes.
Oh, we have a visitor.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right.
So this is for something that's being discussed at the April meeting?
Yeah, so we had issued an enforcement order to these guys in
Probably.
January or February,
Yeah,
and they're gonna file. I thought it would be productive if we looked ahead of time, so it would kind of help inform
Oh, we
their
just gotta
filing.
get the crane. I gotta figure out the weight of the boulders. And I gotta figure out, we gotta pull a tape from where the furthest rock.
I'm gonna mute Gennaro there. Yeah, so I thought it would be helpful because he can kind of adjust his filing based on what we think would be a good outcome so that this doesn't stretch on for him and he can get it
Okay.
cleaned up,
okay.
if everybody's cool with that.
Hmm.
Okay, April 7th at 8 a.m. All right, and so now we are back to the request for certificate of compliance. I feel like this is a lot of pressure. I'm sorry, you have to make a decision on the spot here.
Dave is making one phone call. Let me just go check with him and I'll come right back to you.
Okay,
Okay?
cool, thank you.
Kristen, can I just ask you to repeat the address where we're doing the site visit?
What is it, Tom?
So I think it's 64.
64
Yes.
Willow, okay.
64 Willow.
Okay.
And Tom, you'll share with him the date and time?
Yes.
Awesome, thank you. What else is going on? We had a complaint to DEP about Relay Road. 11 and 17 Relay Road. I went out and looked there. It looks very different because they took out all the stone and concrete, but that's the Knights of Columbus Relay Yard. I'm sorry. And that home there, they're finishing up the abutment. They're kind of backing out. They just finished the Knights. And now they're kind of getting ready to do that residential property, and then they're going to back out. They're hoping to have it done in the next couple weeks. Yeah. I don't know what else is going on. The town's looking at making some changes to the stormwater bylaw at town meeting to kind of help control some of the stormwater problems in town. Some of it's federally required and some is hopefully gonna curb some of the issues we've been having.
Okay, we're back if you
All
folks
right.
are ready.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, we've decided we're not going to do the additional boulders.
Okay. Okay. So that means that I'll issue the minor modification for the work that was already done, and we'll close out the order, but no additional work can be done without coming back to us. You guys are
Correct.
cool with that?
Yep, we're cool with that.
Okay, awesome.
When will we get our certificate?
Well, Mark's going on vacation tomorrow morning at the crack of dawn, so we cannot have his signature. I have 21 days to issue it. I will issue it as fast as I can. Mark, will you be back within 21 days?
Yes.
Okay. All right, well, first, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let me just open this part of the agenda. Number 3, request for certificate of compliance for 163 Willow Road, DEP file number 0470584, request to close out the order for seawall construction. Council had sent me something that they asked that I share with the commission about this. This says Town Hall is aware that some of the work may encroach upon Willow Road, like off the Aldrich's property. As long as the commission is satisfied that the conservation needs are met, we should feel free to sign off on the project with a notation that the Concom takes no position as to the work's possible encroachment on public property. Just as a cover for a conservation commission. And if there's separate issues, that's not our department. So we're just signing off saying that the work was done. And if it encroaches onto town property, that's the town's problem and not the commission specifically. So I just want to say that for the record. So that's something we can just put on the certificate of compliance as a notation. And then we get recorded. Okay, does anybody have any questions, comments, concerns about the request for certificate of compliance?
So how do we word it? So it's really the compliance of the plan as approved with the minor modifications, or how do we word that?
So I think, I don't know, I need to look and see if the previous as-built, John, maybe you know the answer to this without me looking. If the previous as-built shows everything that was done, I can reference the previous as-built because we don't need the additional rocks. Or when I write the modification, I will just give permission for the additional work and specifically say that the extra rocks are not part of that, and I can just reference that as-built plan.
You know, and if we could get a letter from John that identifies the area of additional boulders as not being constructed. Just to clean up the as-built so that
I can issue that letter in the morning.
Yeah.
Why don't we do that instead of having to go back to the surveyor, because I know he's retired.
Yeah, because the current as-built shows the edge of salt marsh, which wasn't
Oh, that's right.
accurately shown on the last one.
That's right,
So
okay.
you'll need the current as-built.
Okay, so do you mind just sending us that letter?
Absolutely.
Perfect. Okay, is the commission comfortable with that?
Yep.
And I can actually note it on the certificate of compliance too, that it wasn't, let me think about it, the best way to do it. Okay. Is everybody cool with that? And then we'll put the notation from town council. Okay. Excuse me. All right, is there a motion to issue the certificate of compliance?
I move.
Thank you, Eden. Is there a second?
Second,
Thank you, Colleen. Okay. Mr. Paddock, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Collins?
yes.
Mr. Familari?
Yes,
Ms. Reiner?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
Abstain.
Thank you. I'm a yes. Okay, passes 501. Okay, we'll get going on that. Mark, when do you get back?
31st. So I'll be late on the 31st. I'm here April 1st.
Okay. All right, and I will issue that as quickly as I can. All right, is there a motion to close?
I move.
Thank you, Eden.
I'll second.
Thank you, Henry. We're going to just do this as a general. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Awesome. Okay, thank you, guys.
Thank you
I
very
will
much.
Bye, everybody.
see you
Kristen.
later. Have a good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Yeah.
Kristen, before you
Yeah.
leave.
Yep.
Would you like me to go and speak with Tony about that hard drive?
If you're up to it, yeah. If not, I can do it.
Okay, I mean, you're busy working every day, so I can walk up there and,
Okay. Yeah.
Do we
I
have-
think
do we actually have a desktop up there?
No.
Okay, so it would have to be on, well, so how would we share it?
I think we could probably just keep it with the Concom files. And
Well,
then
good.
if somebody needed it, you could take it home and put your stuff on it.
Okay, because we are gonna need to add to it.
Yeah. I think we could just keep adding to it when we need to, and we could just keep it at the town hall. Maybe we could keep it with the building secretary or something, so it doesn't end up getting stolen.
Does the town doesn't have like space in the sky that we could use?
Maybe. I don't
I'm
know.
not-
I mean, you probably, if you ask Olivia Cook, she's probably the most knowledgeable up there.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice if we could update this thing ourselves from home.
I mean, like OneDrive with access.
Right,
um,
you know,
right.
because they have their own set of pictures.
Well, why don't I'll shoot them an email. Don't go up there yet. I'll shoot them an email and see what they think about the easiest way to do that.
Okay,
Okay.
okay,
All right. Sounds good. Bye, guys. Thank you.
thank you.
Good night.